Hello, hello, everyone. Happy Wednesday. Hope you guys are all having a fabulous day today. It is Tips and Tricks webinar day. So we're excited to dive into our topic today, which is going to be the event list. So during our course today, I'm going to go through all of the aspects of the event list. I do ask that if you have any questions at all, you go ahead and put them there in the chat. And our friend Miranda here is also on the call, so she is going to be monitoring the chat. So if you have any questions, more than welcome to put them there in the chat. She'll be happy to answer you. If there's anything that she can't answer, we're going to go ahead and answer that at the end of our class today. We are going to have kind of an open Q&A at the end. So if you have any questions and you want to ask your question, discuss anything about this area, feel free to hold those questions until the end, and then we'll have that open Q&A. I'm going to give it just another minute or two here to see if anybody else is going to join us today. Our class is going to be recorded, so I do ask that you remain on mute throughout the entire class today. And then, of course, we are going to send out a follow-up email at the end that's going to have the full recording. So if you want to go back and watch this or go over anything again, you're more than welcome to watch, stop, and start that as you see fit once we send out that full recap video. But I appreciate everybody joining us today. Happy March. I hope that you are all gearing up for a busy Mother's Day coming up sooner than we really feel like it is. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and get started today. For those of you that don't know, my name is Brandy, and I am the support director here at Details Flower Software. We do a tips and tricks webinar every month. These are free and included in your subscription with us. Each month, we will do a different topic. So make sure that you keep an eye out for those emails so you can sign up for all of our webinars as they come out. Go ahead and share my screen, and we're going to dive right in. All right, so to get started here, the event list is going to be what populates every time you come into your Details account. So it'll be like your home screen, and it will house all of the information for all of your events. And go ahead and just get my chat up here so that I can make sure to keep an eye on that. Perfect. All right, so to get started, the first thing that we're going to look at here on our event list is going to be at the very top of the screen here, and that is going to be our pipeline. So the pipeline here at the top is going to be the different stages in the planning process that your client is going to go through here in Details. So the first section that we see here is going to be your current. It's just going to list out all of your current events, regardless of their other stage in the pipeline here. So this is going to be like your catch-all. That's where you'll see all of your current events. Next is going to be your inquiries section. So this is going to be your clients where maybe they haven't signed their proposal yet. They're a new inquiry, you're building out their proposal, and they're going to be in your inquiry section. Over here, right next to the word event list, is going to be a little brochure icon. So if we click on that, we'll also be able to see our icon legend, which will show us what statuses correlate with what section of the pipeline. So in the event of inquiry, that means that they're going to be either a new inquiry that you've sent out the proposal, but maybe they haven't signed it yet, or they're a prospect from the older version of Details. Right below that is going to be our plan stage. So that means that you have either received a payment from them or they have signed their proposal. In the review stage of the pipeline, it's going to be our logistics review and also our table review. So you're just finalizing everything with your client, making sure that you have everything all set before you start ordering your products there. And then, of course, you have your final stage where you're going to start printing off your documents. You've received that final payment. You've maybe sent off a quote or a request for quote here in Details to the wholesaler. Your products have been finalized, and then also a thank you has been sent. So those 5 areas there are what moves that into the final. So to view each section of the pipeline and the events that are in that section, you'll just click on the section itself. And that's going to change over and show you what events are currently in that stage of the pipeline so that you can see them all in one place. To move an event into a different section of the pipeline here, like I said, it's going to be based on status, but that's going to be on the left-hand side of any of your events. And you can click on that to change out your different statuses. And that's going to, again, move that through your pipeline here at the top. You'll just simply click on the status itself and then select from the menu that pops up. All right, so then down here below, right now we have our current list. This is going to be all of the events that we are currently working on, excuse me, currently working on. Maybe their event date is coming up, or maybe they're just a new inquiry, but either way, they're going to be things that you are currently working on right now. In the drop-down menu at the top, though, you can also switch over to see any of your past events. When an event's date has passed, it's going to automatically move that event over into the past events list. So if you come in here the day after the event to go in and make a change or view anything, you're going to go over to your past events to view that event now. Additionally, you also have a did not book list for any clients that maybe, you made the proposal, but they didn't book you, but you still want to keep their information. You're going to mark that there as did not book. And then you also have an archive list, which is going to be just like a catch-all list. On the right-hand side of any of your events, you can move an event to a different list by clicking on the checkbox. And then at the bottom, you're going to see options based on the list that you're in. So for example, right now I'm in the current list, so I'm going to have options to mark this as an event that didn't book me, or I can also archive this event. However, if I move over into, let's say, the did not book list, and I am going to click one of the checkboxes that are on the right-hand side here for one of these events. Now I've got different options down here at the bottom, such as mark as active, or I can also archive this. So the options are going to change based on what list you're in. I do get questions fairly often about how to move an event from one list to another, and that's how. You're just going to click on that checkbox to the right-hand side, and then you'll select from the options that are listed down there at the bottom. Go back over here to my current list. All right, so once this area loads here, we're going to be back over onto our current list. And we're going to talk about the different columns that are here on the event list itself. So right now I have several different columns of information that I see here, but I can also choose to show additional columns of information or remove any of the ones that are currently here by going to the settings menu here in the top right-hand corner. And then when the box pops up, I've got several different options here. Starting over here on the right-hand side, I can choose which one of these columns I want to be visible or not. So right now, the ones that I have toggled on are the ones that we saw just a moment ago. But anything that I have toggled as off means that I'm not currently viewing it there on my event list. If I do want to view that information every time that I come onto this event list, I'm just going to go ahead and toggle that to on. There's no limit to the number of columns that you can put on. You can put all of them on, you can take all of them off. It's just kind of up to you. Next is going to be sticky. So if I have a column that I want to follow me all the way to the end as I scroll over, I'm going to go ahead and make that sticky. Right now I have the creation date set as sticky. So let me go ahead and just save, and I'll show you what that means. So as I scroll over, you'll see that that creation date kind of just follows me all the way to the end. So that's what sticky means. Going back into our settings, you also have options to show specific bits of information, either when you hover over a column or to navigate to a specific page or show information when you click on a certain column. For example, right now I have my event date is going to show the event note when I hover over it, but it can also show any of these information that we see here. So maybe my required payments, the client info, custom properties, any of that information can show when I hover over a specific column. Additionally, over here in the when clicked option, I can choose what happens or where I navigate to when I click on a specific column. So for example, let me go ahead and just choose my ceremony location. For me, because that ceremony location field exists on the details page, I have it set to open my details page. Same thing with my reception location here. The event name I have set to automatically open up my worksheet. Every details account does come already set up with a set of defaults here in the settings area, but you can change this. And this is actually going to be for per client, or excuse me, per user. So for example, if you have 3 people that are currently accessing your details account, all 3 of those people can have a different set of settings depending on like their job or what pages they visit most frequently. And they can set that up here in the settings area. If you're ever curious on how to get to a specific page, this is how you're going to be able to decide yourself where you go when you go into a specific area. All right, and then down below that is going to be options for your default view. Right now I have mine set at pipeline, which is why I see the pipeline here at the top of my page when I first get here. But I can also switch that over to the search and filters if I want to, and we're going to go over that area in just a couple minutes as well. Right here in the bottom left-hand corner is going to be my right-click menu, so I can choose to have this either on or off by toggling it to yes or no. The right-click menu is actually going to be something that I am going to utilize here on my event list fairly often. So for any one of my columns, I'm just going to right-click. And now I've got this easy navigation menu so I can go to a specific section. So for example, I have my client name set to take me to the client info, my event name to take me to the worksheet, but maybe I don't have a column set up to take me to like the payments page or the cost page. So I can right click and easily navigate to any one of those pages within that event. All right, so next is going to be our search and filters area. So in the top right-hand corner of your list, you're going to see where it says search. And that's going to switch over our panel over here at the top. So initially, it's going to start off with your contact name, event name, or view as your filters here. So you can utilize those. But on the left-hand side, you're also going to see a drop-down menu to add additional filters. So things like event date before and after. Or maybe we're going to be searching by all of the events that were referred to me by Google or by a specific entity. I could also search by invoice number. So if I'm looking for a specific event by invoice number, I can just add that in there, hit that add button, and then put the invoice number in here so I can search by it. For example, if I want to see all of the events that were referred to me by Google, I'm going to go ahead and put referred by, enter the word Google, and then hit search. And that's going to tell me, okay, these 2 events came from Google. If I want to do this a little bit more granular, so maybe I want to see, okay, in the month of March, how many of the events that I got came from Google? Then I can go to created after and created before. And I can say, okay, so I want March. So I'm going to do after February 28th and before April 1st. And then I can go ahead and search that. And that's going to bring up my one event here that's going to say, okay, this one event was created in March and it was referred to by Google. All right, so additionally, if we want to look for all of the events that were created in March, but maybe I also want to include any that didn't book me or that I had archived or that have already passed, things like that. I can utilize my view drop-down menu here to select my all list, or I can also search within a specific list. So maybe I want to see all of my past events that meet a certain criteria. I can do that here as well. Also on these search and filters options, at the very bottom, you're going to also see any custom properties that you've created. If you're not currently using custom properties, that area is going to be listed on the details page of each one of your events. It'll be on the left-hand side, and that area will allow you to basically put any information that you'd like. So for example, we had a client here that worked in multiple different counties, and they wanted to be able to pull a list here on the event list for all of the events that were in this county and that county. So they were able to go in and add a custom property of county, and then I can go in and put my county as Volusia, and I will go ahead and search that. So I'm going to use the all list, and I'll search, and it's going to search for any event that I have that had the custom property of county with a value of Volusia. And it'll say, okay, all of these are all the weddings that you've done in Volusia. So custom properties are really just that, they're custom. So you can put anything that you'd like to in there. And then you also will be able to use that as a search filter here on the event list. So great options there, especially if there is something that you want to add onto your event, but there's not necessarily a specified field. So you can always go in there and put that in as a custom property, and then it will live on the event, but you can also search for it here. So if you have a search that you're doing over and over again, so maybe like you have somebody who is an influencer for you, they refer you customers all the time, and you guys maybe have something worked out to where they get a certain percentage of anything that's sold. In that case, you can go in and you can build out your different search criteria here. So like referred by, and maybe it's going to be referred by, and it'll have that they were created after and created before. So that way I can view all of my events that were referred to me by a specific person within this date range, right? But since this is something that I'm going to be pulling maybe every month or every quarter so that I can, give them their portion, I'm going to go ahead and in the menu option here at the top right-hand corner, I can save this as a search, or I can save it as a report. So I'm going to go ahead and name this referred by. Below that is going to be options to save values. When I save values, what that means is that basically we'll save anything that I've added into the fields already. So like if I wanted to put Google in there in the referred by, that would be my value. If my values are going to change every month, I probably am not going to check that box. But if I'm going to be checking for Google and things that were referred to me by Google every month or every quarter, I might want to go ahead and do a specified referred by Google search and save that value. You can also choose to share this report with other members in your team. So maybe you're not the person that pulls it every month. Maybe that's different. Or maybe you are making the search criteria, but you want somebody else to execute the search quarterly or monthly. You can share that with your team, and that's going to allow that to appear for any member in your team that currently is an authorized user within details. To load that in, they're going to go to the menu option in the top right-hand corner here, and you can select load search/report. From there, you can select that report and load the template, and then you'll be able to just go in and put in any additional values that you're looking for. This is going to be true for any kind of search or report that you want to run here on the event list. And this is just kind of what it is. It's a search tool, but it's also a reporting tool. So just keep that in mind that you can run reports from this just based on using that filter criteria. But if you're using this for a specific search over and over again, I would go ahead and save that there in your saved searches and reports. So on the same wavelength of creating reports here on the event list, if you run a report, you may also want to export that or print it off so that you can keep that for your records or share it with your team. In that case, you're going to go ahead and execute your search up here at the top and hit that search button. And then at the bottom here, you're going to see all of the columns of information that you can export. So that's going to be based on the ones that you have toggled to on in your settings. Keep in mind that you can change your settings just for a single report, and then of course change that back. But I'm going to just make sure that all of the columns of information that I want to include in this exported list are going to be visible. And then in the top right-hand corner, we're going to see that export option where you can export the full report or list of events that meet that criteria. So again, you'll just click on that export button. And then of course, if you want to change back any of your filters, you can do that at the end as well. Also on this menu option, you can save defaults. So originally, when I was on my pipeline and I switched over to my search, it popped up with the client name, event name, and then the view field here. But if I want that to be something else every time that I go onto the search area, maybe I only want it to be the client name and the view, or maybe I want it to be this referred by. I can go in and create any of my search and filters that I want to save as my default. And then I'm going to go up to this menu option again, and I have the option to save this as a default. So when you do that, then anytime you click on that search, it's going to pop up with that specific search. You can do that at any time. Excuse me. Sorry about that. All right. And then, of course, every time that you log in there, it's going to be there as your default, and that will be true for everybody across your company. So you can save that default for everybody. All right. Are there any questions on the event list, moving an event from one list to another, creating reports, searching the event list, updating the status, or adjusting any of your settings to change your columns of information or your when clicked and on hover options? I'll go ahead and give it a minute to see if anybody has any questions there, and you can put those into the chat and we'll be able to address those as well. You'll also see that Miranda has put in the chat there a support center article, so you can review that. That's basically navigating the event list and everything that it entails. So that's going to go pretty much through everything that we just talked about: pipeline, searching, creating reports, and also the information that that is on your event list itself. All right, well, it doesn't look like we have any questions today. This was a short tips and tricks today, so we're going to go ahead and wrap it up early. We will have a recap. So for anybody that came in a little late there, we're going to have a full recap video that we send out, so you can go back and rewatch this again. But if you have any additional questions, our team is always here to assist you. You can go in and click that chat bubble in the bottom left-hand corner to access our team and ask any questions between the hours of 9 a.m. and 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Monday through Friday. Or you can also utilize from the main menu under support, you'll find our contact us tab, and you can go in there and ask questions or submit feature requests. You'll also find our phone number there and a link to schedule some time with a team member if you'd like. So I appreciate you all taking some time to learn a bit more about the event list today. And if you have any additional questions, please don't hesitate to reach back out. I hope you all have a fabulous rest of your Wednesday and take care.